doing a good job of that.
How is it going out there, folks? Welcome to the Sounds Like Liberty podcast. As per always, I am your host, Nikki P, here with my lovely wife and co-host, Lizzie.
Hello.
You damn right you better say hello.
I'm caffeinated.
She has to be. She's been working like crazy hours up at the whole UPS.
Heck yeah.
How many hours was it last week?
70-ish.
I think it's like 72 roughly.
Somewhere around that.
That's a lot of hours.
It's a lot of
Meanwhile,
hours.
I'm on vacation. Like, I'm working 3 days a week now, and
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with myself all this time.
He's
That's a
learning to
joke.
be an entrepreneur.
That's a joke. There's a lot of podcasts to be made.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so we are here as always on the Launchpad Media, where we are always launching our ideas in your direction. How is everybody doing today? We have a fun episode planned for you.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk to, I guess I would call him an Instagram personality.
Okay,
Some
that seems
influencers
fair.
that we call those people.
Sure, you could do that.
At any rate, this is with Joel over at Evaporeign.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, as I have to stress every beginning of the episode, why don't you go check out soundslikeliberty.com. I've been hard at work on the website, diligently updating and adding content, especially in the Freedom Choir section. I sent out a few links to that this week that were well received. There's a lot of content in there. In particular, for the season, I recommend the year-round tree content, which is me and Liz talking about Christmas movies and specials and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? What do we got going up this week? I think we have Home for the Holidays, the special for the Pixar or whatever movie Home.
Nice. Dig it.
And then I think we got is it Bob's Burgers is going to be going up, or is it that was last week?
Yeah, we've got a lot of Christmas movies coming, right? I think Bob's Burgers and we did the Christmas toy, which was a thing.
It's Bob's Burgers. So Christmas toy was last week.
Okay.
Next week's is going to be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know, because we talked about Dave Foley's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. We talk about ridiculous Christmas themed stuff, and believe me, there are far more specials than you can even imagine. So we got a lot of content to do this way. I think we got 9 that we're doing this year, something like that, maybe 10. It's gonna be a blast, is what I know. And I would also like to recommend another podcast since I like doing that. This week, I want to recommend Artificially Intelligent, which is a libertarian tech podcast, and it's a lot of fun. They just do good work over there.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's been some shakeup in co-hosting and stuff like that.
Interesting.
But yeah, they get really in the weeds. I think the guy's an engineer who actually runs the show. Maybe
Cool.
he actually is in college at the moment. But he seems like a relatively intelligent young man, and
Indeed.
he talks about cool stuff. Like he'll get into like an episode on like the future of passwords, essentially,
That sounds
and like
interesting.
we're moving to a world where you're not going to have passwords anymore.
You're just going to sign up for one of those services that like scrolls through a series of numbers and letters and creates a key or something?
No, actually, the key is going to be made using like your biometrics
Oh, good God.
and like a random keyword.
I see. Okay. Well, I was listening to the QAnon thing, and they were talking about some numbers and letters popping up in fun, interesting places. Possibly not fun, possibly just interesting, but yeah, it was interesting. I don't follow all the things, but I listen. I'm hoping somewhere it'll get in my brain pan and it'll jog my memory when I need it later
Okay.
at some point.
Right on. So, anyways, folks, we will get right on in here. Let's listen to this song, because I like playing songs on the show. Go check out and support all the independent musicians that we feature on here. They're all people that I personally know.
Yeah,
Most
that
of
would be
them
awesome.
are me. But yeah, we'll get right into this interview with Joel from Evaporeign. think sunrise is a great way to end your day. Anyway, so what are we going by name wise? What should I be putting on the promotional stuff here? I got Joel. Is it just Joel?
Yeah, Joel works. So relatively.
Do you have a company, Joel at? Do you want me to use or just Joel?
Oh yeah, at Evaporeign. That's my Instagram handle, and so far I have created a backup account. I know eventually Facebook will probably start purging, like vape accounts, but I figure they're probably way ahead of that as far as like shadow banning, stuff that they don't agree with, and that has a lot to do with vaping right now because they're not vaping friendly.
Oh, they're not anything friendly.
Mm.
Nothing I like, yeah.
So, all right. Well, welcome to the Sounds Like Liberty podcast, Joel. I was turned on to Joel by our good friend Eric Heiler over at the. What is it, Liz? What is it? Do you remember?
Rebel with the Cause.
I was trying to see if I could get my wife to pay attention.
I'm taking notes. Sorry.
She gets so involved in the note taking for the episode that she forgets that she's part of the episode.
Right on.
I throw tests at her in the middle of the show and she just doesn't even pay attention enough to get the test.
Rebel with the cause.
So, anyways, yeah, our good friend Eric Heiler recommended you. So, that's what we're doing.
Yep.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up in the weird world that you're in?
Well, as it pertains to vaping, I started a company with a buddy of mine back in 2016. I just started vaping in 2015. I was smoking roughly, about a half a pack a day. And I've been doing that for a while. And, waking up in the morning, having coughing fits and just not feeling healthy, kind of standard. And
that'll
a buddy of mine was friends with this guy who was making e-liquid. And he quit smoking and started vaping, and he's like, "Hey man, you should too." And I was like, "Well, how does this work?" And he got me hooked up with a setup. It was like a mechanical mod with an RDA, and I started vaping right away. Loved it. And after a couple months, I was like, "Man, this whole e-liquid thing, it's hard to come by, good juice." I was pretty picky. I would end up buying stuff that I liked but didn't really love, and that was pretty standard. And so we started making our own flavors, my friend and I. And after a while, I was selling it to people I worked with. And after a while, I was like, man, we should definitely, try and find a manufacturer that can produce this in a clean room. And I met a guy at a shop who owned an e-liquid company, and he pointed me in the right direction. And sort of the rest is history, I guess. But it's been fun, I've learned a shit ton in the few years that I've been running the business, and it's really great to be able to provide not only like a cool product to consumers, but also be that person that's like created something that helps other people get off of cigarettes.
That sounds awesome. I'd love less people smoking.
Yeah,
it'd be great. All that sulfur I'm allergic to, not in the air.
There you go.
So it sounds like everything has been going hunky dory, and then some shit went down.
Yeah, I wouldn't say hunky dory. Back in 2016, it was August 8th. The FDA released deeming regulations, where essentially it was like they classified everything vape related as a tobacco product, which under the was a 2009 piece of legislation. I believe it was like the Stop Families from Smoking and Prevention Act or something like that.
Okay.
So the FDA labeled all this stuff tobacco products, and so they were able to regulate it from there. And what's interesting is they put a stop to new products. So if you wanted to release a new flavor, say August 9th, 2016, under these new regulations, you weren't allowed to do that. unless you paid for pretty sure it was some sort of tobacco manufacturing license, which of course is silly.
Because you're not making tobacco.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's totally different. I mean, sometimes the nicotine we use isn't even sourced from tobacco. A lot of it comes from tomatoes and cauliflower. And so the idea that it's a tobacco product is totally absurd, but that's the federal government for you.
That is unfortunately the federal government. So apparently, like this, you've been under attack a lot longer than I guess the general public is even aware of this. I vaguely remember that happening, but I'm not a smoker. Never been a smoker, and I just usually pick on people that vape. So it's not something I would have ever been keyed into. But it does fascinate me. Because it is. I mean, no matter what they try and say, I've only heard positive stories about this, about what vaping has done to the world. Whether or not you like it, it's unassailable that it's been good to get people off of the most awful thing that you can possibly do for your health. It's still legal.
There's a group called the Royal College of Physicians. It represents 60,000 doctors in the UK, I believe, and they came out with a study, and they said vaping is 95% safer than smoking. We like to point to that study a lot when people say, "Hey, don't you know that's bad for you?" Of course, nobody comes up to me and tells me that it's bad for me because I don't know why I never get that, but I hear people telling me that stuff all the time where random strangers will come up to them like, "Hey, don't you know that'll kill you?" While they have a cigarette in their hand.
Right.
Well, it's like, lots of things will kill me.
Mm-hmm.
Step the fuck off, buddy. Why is it your business?
Right.
But headsets, I'm approaching this from a not normie perspective, I suppose. So I'm curious. It feels like you kind of have to operate your business in a bit of a gray area. Do you run a 100% above board business, or do you have like a
honestly, I do. I do everything kind of by the book. But of course, if it gets completely outlawed in the United States, the question is like, who's going to continue to manufacture?
I thought just Juul. I thought that's the goal.
Oh, legally, I'm talking about just like who's gonna fill the void on the black market.
Yeah,
I see. Is that something you would intend on doing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not doing anything wrong, and I'll probably continue to do what I've been doing. I imagine there'll be several companies that'll continue doing what they're doing. I think it'll be less, public. I, for one, don't have a website anymore. I took it down. But if you want to order e-liquid, I'm going to just plug Evaporeign real quick, Nikki.
Yeah, plug it all you want, man.
You can get a hold of me at Evaporeign at protonmail.com, and that's EVAPOREIGN.com. And if you mention this podcast, I'll give you 30% off your first order and free shipping. So
nice.
Fancy. You heard them, folks. Now, the question that is kind of on the tip of my mind is that is this like your sole income? Like you just run this business, or is it kind of like a side hustle?
So it's kind of feast or famine. It's definitely a side hustle. It's always been a side hustle. But that's the nice thing about this industry is there's room for small businesses like mine to come in and make some decent money. I'm not stepping on anyone's toes. Like I said in Eric's podcast, there's no real Pepsi or Coca-Cola of the vaping industry. There's a lot of big companies, a lot of medium-sized ones, and then even more small ones.
All right.
It's very.
That sounds like something a Mr. Pibb would say. Well, yeah, what I do know about vaping is just kind of what I get through like Reason and like libertarian outlets, and it definitely seems as though the portrait is painted where Philip Morris and its involvement with Juul is probably the biggest thing, where the end result is that they are going to be the only ones standing.
Right.
Is that kind of how you see things playing out? Or do you have a different vision since you actually have the inside knowledge of how the industry works a little bit?
No, I think you hit the nail right on the head, Nikki. That's pretty much how I picture it going. I mean, really, if you think about the vapor industry, keeping in mind like the context of, the rest of the entire U.S. economy, it really looks unique, up to a certain point, because there's really no major players. There's no, two companies that are, paying off politicians so that their products, are able to compete with the smaller products or whatever. So it's really for the longest time, it felt like a freer market. I'm not going to say a free market.
Yeah.
But
you're still in the U.S. That's not possible.
Right. Exactly. And so in a sense, it was kind of inevitable that this crushing, regulation or prohibition via regulation would happen. We did enjoy, a freer market for several years, and it was nice, man. It was like, wow. So basically the thing you learn from it is if you're a new emerging industry, you got about 5 years to make really good money before the government steps in and, tries to eliminate competition from the bigger players that are paying them,
Okay. Now I'm curious, as someone who doesn't vape, you complained about the quality of the vape juices you were getting. What differentiates a quality vape juice from like a shitty vape juice?
So the most important thing is, in my opinion, as a vapor and as a manufacturer, is the nicotine itself. So you can get nicotine in a lot of places. You can get it from China. You can get it for dirt cheap, and you can pass those savings on to your customers. However, if the quality of the nicotine is so poor as to make the juice discolored, you'll see a lot of these poor quality nicotine e-liquids will have like a bright orange sort of hue to the liquid itself. It's pretty throaty. It doesn't taste good. Now, whereas if you use a higher quality nicotine, like what I use, it's nude nicotine out of California. It tastes great. You can't even taste the nicotine. It's nice and smooth. And then also quality is going to be...
Sounds like they're just selling you water to me. I don't know.
Quality also comes from where you make your e-liquid. If it's in a controlled environment, or if you're making it in an uncontrolled environment. So room air is classified as ISO 9. And as you forget the actual numbers behind it, but it's like parts per million. And then as you move down ISO 8, ISO 7, you're getting a cleaner and cleaner environment.
Okay.
And this translates into a better tasting juice. So you're going to get a lot more brightness on like subtle notes of flavoring. It all translates into, how it tastes really at the end of the day.
So, how much different than manufacturing crystal meth is this? Because in my head, I just imagine like a bunch of hippies, like in a shed behind the house, just pouring cocktails of fluids, and
Yeah, my lawyer's shaking his head. He doesn't want me to answer that question.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
What kind of crazy question is that?
I'm just curious.
Jeez.
Look, Breaking Bad was really popular, and maybe that's what inspired this whole thing. I don't know.
Different product, completely different product.
Like they didn't want people were afraid to go to crystal meth, and so vape juice was like the next stop. They got to feel like they were
completely unrelated.
Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, Breaking Bad taught us all a lot about entrepreneurship.
It did, though. Yeah.
I will give it that. Mm-hmm. It does seem to have it had some like noticeable effect on the culture in that regard. I can't complain about that. I've never watched the show. It seemed really high drama. It's not my thing.
But you did notice, like, after that show happened, there were a bunch. There's like the weeds. There's a couple other ones where people are, either making or growing or producing some sort of product that is kind of not super okay with the government. I mean, but people find it useful and.
Well, it's not about the government being okay with it. Well, we've finally crested the point where companies, I think, see their way to make money and their way to control the industry. And so, I mean, within 5 years, it's going to be nationally legal, at least weed, because it is something that they can control now. They just haven't had the legal structure ready for it. And they've been working very hard to put in shitty legal structures into our state laws to allow it that way, and then they'll roll it out nationally in a similar fashion after the testing grounds.
Yeah.
So, it's the path to legal is going to be worse than, where we're at now.
Mm.
Right.
The most of the people I know who talk about, the weed market is that most people are still going to buy black market because it's going to be so much cheaper and better.
Well, also keep in mind places like Los Angeles. I was reading the other day, weed may be legal down there, but the bureaucratic red tape, the regulatory red tape that prevents business owners from actually bringing their products to the market are so overwhelming that for a product that's in high demand, it's not reflected with the amount of shops that are actually open because of the waiting times, or not waiting times to get a permit, but just the amount of time that it takes to get a permit.
Well, they learned their lesson on that. In every other state, they just hand out set number of licenses, and that's all there is.
Right.
Because can't have more than the people we want making money on it.
Yeah, I read recently, or not recently. I don't know if this number is recent, but this was, I think, last year. The pot dispensaries. Here I am saying pot. It's kind of an outdated term. It's kind of funny. In Oregon, there were more dispensaries at one point in time than there were Starbucks, which is like not surprising to people who live here, I guess, or like I don't know if Oregon has a reputation as like a total like marijuana state, but the thing is like I was surprised that there were that many Starbucks. It's like 630 or something like that.
They can squeeze them in there. You don't even notice them half the time.
I mean, but that was the legal addictive stimulant you could get for a while, so
Yeah,
the demand was there. Why not build another Starbucks?
I have a friend who calls energy drinks Christian crack.
I
mean, that's what I won't argue that.
I've been to those youth groups. It's not inaccurate.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I mainline the shit out of that stuff. That's way worse for me than anything. Even probably smoking would ever do to me. I'm not looking forward to the damage I've done to my body with energy drinks. Let's say that much.
Are you still consuming energy drinks on a regular basis?
Less with the Monster. We're still working on the Diet Mountain Dew, the neon green.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Should I not be mentioning brand names? The Diet highly caffeinated soda.
Why not coffee, man? Do you like coffee?
I'm drink coffee too.
Okay, double dose.
Yep.
I've got a kid and a day job and a number of side businesses, and
you just got a caffeine drip. Usually.
Sometimes you just gotta barrel through that hour of sleep you get a day.
For sure. Well, you know what helps me? It's kratom.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Is it legal in your state?
I have no idea what that is.
I think so. I'm not entirely positive. I know that I was at there's one of the vape shops that I go into occasionally for work. I feel like they sell kratom there.
Yeah, it's definitely, the industry is blowing up for sure.
Help me out. What is this?
So kratom's like a plant that's grown in like Southeast Asia, and they crush up the leaves and make it into a powder, and you take capsules, or you can just take powder in your coffee or whatever. It's the cousin to or sister to the coffee plant. So, but it has lots of different quality or different sort of effects depending on which strain you purchase. So the reason it's becoming popular is because we have so many opiate addicts in this country, and they're using the red vein to wean off of opiates.
Oh, okay.
And it's incredibly
use
effective.
The white. What's that?
I said it's apparently incredibly effective.
Oh, okay. So when's the government going to start outlawing it then?
They already have.
The DEA a couple years ago was all ready and set to put kratom on the official schedule, and then it got pulled off. And I think it was the first time really in history that had happened. So as far as I know, it's
it got a lot. It got a lot of fanfare because there was no reason for it.
Yeah.
There's, as far as I know, there's never been a single death due to kratom.
So just really obviously the government trying to prevent people from getting something that's helping them.
I mean, it was just a blatant power grab.
Yeah.
And yeah. I guess I've never really thought of myself as being addicted like that, but
it's interesting. I just learned something new.
I still kind of like my Diet Mountain Dew. I just cut it differently now. I don't drink it straight. I just like 12 ounces to
right
to 30 ounces of water or something like that.
Got to be an improvement, right?
Using water, you're not using like vodka or something.
Oh God, no.
No, drinking's too. I got fat and it's too expensive to drink.
I personally gave that up years ago myself. So
I don't know that I gave it up. I don't really care one way or the other. But like, I think the last time I got drunk, in 3 hours, I spent $100 to get there.
Wow!
At like a cheap bar.
Yikes!
You're on the West Coast. I forget, prices are different there.
Yeah,
probably about $300 is what that would cost you. That's $2, like $2.50 drinks here. So, well, right on, man. I'm trying to articulate, because there's like when you're first talking about this, like I'm trying to keep up with the vocabulary of even what you were talking about, because like there's a lot of words I don't know what the hell these things mean, and so it's making articulating a question different.
Oh yeah, well there's because you're not familiar with the lingo.
Yeah.
If you phrase the question and it sounds dumb, I don't care. No. If you have a question, ask away.
But I'm a raging egomaniac, and
it's like he's not allowed to sound dumb.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to sound dumb. I can sound like many things,
but unintelligent. Uninformed is not one of them.
An arrogant prick is one thing I'm allowed to sound like.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're allowed to sound like verbally like mediocre intelligent, as long as like your written stuff is like on par with like.
Oh no! Like that's real. I'm real retarded writing wise. I'm a lyrical linguistical person in the talking.
That's your strong point.
Yes, and yes, purposely that sentence made no sense.
Yeah. All right. So take a stab at this question, because now I'm just curious.
So do you have any background and like, I guess what you would need to have a background? To me, I'm imagining, like, wouldn't you have to be a chemist to kind of be able to do this in like a meaningful way or like a safe way?
No. Thanks to the internet, there's a lot of people who kind of pioneered the mixing sort of. It's really easy, It's very. It's not complex at all. There's definitely like information you need to have to know to stay away from certain things, but I wouldn't say it's even remotely required that you have a background in chemistry to do any of this stuff. That's why it's so common, really.
Okay.
Anybody and their dog mixes up e-liquid.
Gotcha.
Okay.
It doesn't hurt though. It wouldn't hurt. You could probably get some sort of weird insight, with a chemistry background. I know a guy who owns an e-liquid company who has a chemistry background. But the thing is it's like, even if you have that, if you don't have a good palate, if you're creating flavors, but your taste sucks, you got to enlist the help of multiple people so you can get some outside opinions.
Everything tastes like dog shit. Okay. I'm curious, it'd be remiss to not ask. I mean, what are your thoughts on the whole current scaremongering that's going on with the whole e-cigarette thing?
So vaping has been kind of a pariah for a long time. I mean, it started in really, I want to say 2015 when we'd hear a lot, vaping is gay, vaping is gay. And I thought that was interesting. A buddy of mine was like, what if that was like some sort of like propaganda campaign that was started by Philip Morris? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I won't rule it out. But recently, there's been some deaths associated with vaping, but the media is being very disingenuous about it because these deaths are from people who are using THC cartridges. So they are technically vaping, but they're not vaping e-liquid. They're vaping oil. And but here's the thing too, is like those products, it turned out, were cut with vitamin E acetate. They were counterfeit American products that were made in China. And vitamin E acetate, if inhaled, can cause fatal pneumonia. And I think these teenagers were going through like a cartridge in a couple of days.
Oh, wow.
From what I read. So it sounds like an overdose. But vaping e-liquid is catching a lot of flack because these state governments are losing out on millions of dollars of MSA money from big tobacco. So the MSA is an agreement, the Master Settlement Agreement in 1998, where big tobacco agreed with the state governments to pay them a percentage of their annual profits from their tobacco sales if the state governments would block litigation against them. So if you had like an uncle or a grandpa who died of some sort of smoking related disease or illness, you couldn't essentially sue the big tobacco companies. So these state governments are getting millions of dollars. Well, they were, right, up until vaping became really popular and those profits started shrinking. So their payments started shrinking. So with California and New York, they went ahead and purchased bonds with that money that they thought they were going to get. And then it turned out that the money had dried up quite a bit and they risked defaulting. So you'll see, the higher the MSA payment, the higher the money, the bigger the amount of money that they're getting from big tobacco, or rather that they're losing, the more anti-vaping their legislation is. So it's not about the health of the public. Well, it never has been, right? But they just want to get cigarette sales to go back up, And if that means people dying every year, because I mean the numbers are 458,000 people die from smoking related illnesses every year. And that, to me, would be the real public health crisis, not this, 6 kids vaped some shit that they never should have put in their fucking body. 458,000, I mean, that's 500,000, and that's every year. So I like to think of vaping e-liquid kind of as a free market solution to a real public health crisis.
Well, I mean, we can't work on actual numbers. Numbers don't mean anything, If they meant anything, we'd be more concerned with vehicle deaths than, gun deaths in America. We're not. So,
yeah, vehicle deaths. I mean, you read the privatization of roads and highways by Block? It's
been a while, but
oh man, that book is so good. He wrote one of those chapters while he was like waiting in line at the DMV.
Wow.
Hey, how's it going? Nikki P here. Want to support the show or just give a big middle finger to Patreon? Consider stopping over to supportSLL.com. Members of the Freedom Choir get access to the private Facebook group and actual physical merch. Want access to the unedited raw interviews as they're recorded way before they're released? It's in there. Is that not enough? And you want membership to Freedom Song 365? It's in there. There's even monthly bonus swag for top tier supporters. So head on over to supportsll.com. Help Liz and I get to libertarian functions and even just cover the costs of making the show. If I'm not a good enough salesman, how about this?
Support my mom and dad and Sounds Like Liberty. go to supportsll.com.
You heard her, folks. Join the Freedom Choir at supportsll.com.
So I'm curious if clearly you're kind of on the political spectrum where I am. Does that have any bearings on your involvement in the current market that you're involved in, or one
definitely,
kind of
sure.
factor in one way or the other?
So I actually work at a shop, and I get to talk to customers every day, really. And tell you what, when this ban was proposed in Oregon, because there was a ban, it lasted 2 days, and it was overturned in an appellate court. A judge saw evidence that, if this ban was fully instituted, it would shut down specialty vape shops within 2 weeks. Anyways, I've never heard so much anti-government sentiment coming from people who I otherwise would believe to be not politically inclined. So I think it's great. To use kind of an outdated term, I think it's red pilling average Americans. I think they're waking up to the realization that the government doesn't represent the people. In fact, they don't even have the people's interests in mind. The only people they represent are special interests.
Okay, now you referred to these people as average Americans. I'm curious what it's like where you come from as an industry, because I only see vape shops in like the shitty neighborhoods where we live. Like they're not something that you see outside of the hood, basically.
Okay.
So I'm curious if that's different, out in Oregon.
So if you were setting up a shop, where would you, geographically, you would want to place it in a place where you were closest to the largest volume of potential customers, right? And so if you see vape shops in poor communities, that's probably because there's a lot of people who smoke. If you look at demographics, the majority of tobacco consumers are poor people. So these are all just people that are, waiting to be essentially, converted to vaping. These are all potential customers, and that's why
I get it. What you're saying is this is all part of the plan to call the herd.
Well, no, it would be interfering with the plan to call the herd, because the vaping is actually better for you than the smoking.
Well, no, they get them addicted with like the good stuff, and then they just start feeding out that stuff that started killing people.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the plan. You get them addicted, and then eventually you get a bad batch that kills everybody. That's what they did with crack, right? You get them all addicted, and then bam, the bad batch.
Well,
but them all out.
That's why you want to have it decentralized. That's why you have, the small business owners, because,
I thought the point of getting people addicted to crack was so you could have free prison labor.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely an argument for that.
There's lots of arguments for why they did the crack thing, but whatever. I'm white. I don't have to worry about it, Liz.
There's nothing to throw. Why is there never anything to throw?
I don't know. All right. So when you're making the vapes or making the fluids, and you're not Walter White, what's playing in the background? What's the thing I care about?
Oh, music wise.
Music-wise.
I have really weird taste in music. Well, not weird taste, but
you guarantee.
I have like music ADHD. It's a vaccine injury I suffered as a child.
Gotcha. Okay.
But no, I listen to a wide variety of music, but I'm also really picky. So like I wouldn't say like I listen to any particular genres, because there's a lot of bands and a lot of genres that I absolutely despise. I'll listen to like upbeat music on mixing, like some house music.
Nice.
He's not helping us. I'm not Walter White cause here.
What's that?
I said you're not helping your I'm not Walter White cause.
I don't know. I hear house music and I just think like Basement Jacks. I don't know other bands.
I hear house music and I just travel back to college. With bebop.
I think there's a band called, I don't know if it's a band, but it's called Danger. I like that music. I mean, it's like if you play it, it'll probably just play like Dead Mouse or whatever on Pandora. I listen to a lot of metal and like outlaw country too. I'm a big fan of Tyler Childers.
Okay, I've listened to him before. I haven't listened to a ton of him. I'm marginally into the outlaw country stuff. Like I got there from the rockabilly side of things, or more importantly from the psychobilly side of things. And so like there's a little bit of crossover appeal between them, but not a whole ton.
Yeah. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't know if Tyler Childers would be considered outlaw country. I realize that's probably more like Hank 3, who I do enjoy listening to from time to time.
Yeah, he's funny.
Yeah, he's definitely an anarchist for sure.
Hank 3?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I imagine the whole family probably to a certain degree is.
Right.
Just based on, even listen to his dad's lyrics is pretty fuck you, stay out of my life.
Well, yeah, I got the impression that the outlaw in the outlaw country is, specific to situations they have been in.
Yeah, good point.
Apparently, Hank Jr. really liked his weed anyways.
Yeah.
And I imagine that when you rebel against someone who rebelled, it's a stacking effect, perhaps.
Outlaw squared.
Yeah, basically, outlaw squared. It's an exponential thing.
Right.
Hank 3's kid's just gonna come out shooting heroin.
Or it'll be like a super hardcore reversal, like there'll be a pastor or something.
Right.
Or he's making snuff films.
Ugh. Okay, that took a turn. Like, jeez.
Sorry, I was watching something the other day. They were talking about 8mm, so it's on my brain.
Nicolas Cage, daggone it.
It was Nicolas Cage. Right on. I'm curious. Is music a big part of your life at all? You just kind of got your stuff
absolutely.
You're not giving me a lot of bands for a guy who's it's a big part of their life. I got nothing to go look up now.
Let's go. You know what band I've really been digging the last year is I just started listening to them. I think they're like a late 90s, early 2000s like sludge metal band. They're like Dozer, Dozer.
Ooh, fun.
I guess they're not sludge metal. I probably get my genres wrong all the time, and I think I'm listening to like this particular type of music, and it's like I'm wrong.
It's like then I go on Spotify and I'm not listening to that type of music at all.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. It's all playlist now, right? So
I guess.
It's all in there.
Let's see, what other bands do I listen to on a regular basis? Rage Against the Machine. I always enjoy listening to them.
Now, how do you square the whole Rage Against the Machine thing?
I honestly I've heard that their philosophy is a little more lefty.
They're filthy cunts.
Yeah. Yeah. How do I really don't, man. I don't. I just kind of ignore that.
He's like, I just shout, "Fuck you! I won't do what you tell me," and I'm okay with life.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
That's as far as I needed to think it through.
Run the Jewels is probably like the only hip hop that I listen to.
I recently got into them myself, like way after the fact when they were famous. There's actually really, like I said, did you ever listen to the Killer Mike track with Big Boy and Tom Morello off the Atlas Underground album?
What's the name of the track?
Rabbit's Revenge, I think.
I might have heard it, and I just don't remember the name of it.
It's a hard fucking track. It's good. I can't stand Tom Morello, and I like the track.
Is that the one where he talks about killing the cop?
Probably. The whole song's about like young black men getting, shot by the police. So.
Okay, yeah, I think I know what song you're talking about. Yeah, that song went hard, man. I was like, damn.
And it's a Bass Nectar, I think, is like the bass track for it too. So.
Okay, yeah, no, I didn't listen to that song. I don't know which song you're talking about.
Well, no. I mean, it's like a sample of a Bass Nectar song. Like it's officially a Tom Morello track. With Big.
I'm gonna listen to it first thing when we get done here because I'm really curious, and then I'm gonna send you the song where he talks about killing the cop.
I recommend watching the music video if you're gonna do it though, because boy, music videos hits even harder. During the chorus, as they just flash the names of every black kid murdered by a cop on the screen.
Ooh.
Rapid fire.
What is it, like a fucking 30-minute music video?
Well, I mean, yeah.
No, they just come really fast.
Really, really quick.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's intense. So
nice, man. Well, it's good someone's doing something about that. I know Killer Mike had a track about the CIA and Reagan and crack cocaine and shit, and I was thinking to myself, like, well, this is great and all, but like, where's the? I mean, this shit's old news, man. Like, it's not very controversial now. Like, speak up about that.
I mean, and it's like, let's talk not like it doesn't still go on.
Right. Well, I mean, let's talk about the soldiers guarding fucking poppy fields in Afghanistan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look, no one cares about Afghanistan. It's been established. We're just gonna be there forever. You know?
I know at least one person who cares about Afghanistan. I think his name's Mr. Scott Horton.
Right. I'm pretty sure there's a few other names.
Yeah,
on that
but
list.
I mean, if we're looking into the broad scope of the world, I mean, who's Scott Horton?
Oh, good Lord.
Other than us, who cares what Scott Horton thinks?
Oh, I got a funny story about Scott Horton. It's not really involving him so much as his podcast.
Okay.
I was driving up my driveway, and my neighbors were walking down the driveway to get their mail, and I turned the volume down on the podcast to say hello to them, and I had, I paused it, or I turned it off, and I was blasting really loud, so I turned it off when I got close to them, and I turned it back on as I got a little ways away. My window was rolled down, and as soon as I turned it back on, Scott's voice, he's like, "And cut their heads off." And it was super loud, and it was so funny. I was like, oh shit, I hope you hear that.
It's a little awkward.
Are you going to cut your neighbors' heads off?
Like, is that an audiobook? Is this something instructional? Like, should we be concerned?
I'm going to be honest. All I ever hear when I'm listening to podcasts are people's like, what site you're listening to? This podcast. Like,
oh, I bet.
Is it, I mean, is it, there's some effect on it or something? What are you talking
about? Oh, because you're listening to it double speed.
Yeah. And so
they're like, why is he listening to chipmunks talking?
Pretty much. And then I have to explain to people that your brain rewires around it. And so like I hear it like it's normal.
Yeah.
You know.
Wait, so if you listen to a podcast that's on regular speed, are you just like, come on, spit it out?
It's really weird.
I do it once a week for the This Week in Liberpods podcast, because I do clips, and I have to record them off of like other people's podcasts to put them in there, and it is literally just like pulling fucking teeth listening to them for that one day when I got to do it. It's only what 25 minutes worth of content that I have to listen to, and it's awful. I'm just like, get to the fucking point. I get it. Like, this is beyond a leisurely conversation. You're making me work to listen to you. And all it is it's just a matter of, like, your brain gets used to it.
Right. It's funny.
Which is good. I'd rather have my brain used to getting more content than less.
There you go.
I don't know if it's affecting my attention span, though.
Okay.
Are you a big reader, Nikki?
I don't ever physically look at a book, if that's what you're getting at.
He has a ridiculously large collection of them, so he enjoys reading. He just doesn't have time anymore.
Yeah, I've got a kid, man. That sucks about, sadly, most of my time to do reading. I'll listen to audiobooks pretty regularly. I recently did the new Right. And I listened to a number of books this year. So
I didn't read Malice's new book. How was it?
It's awesome. It's awesome. You're gonna find yourself sympathizing with some people you don't want to sympathize with. There's that.
That's awkward.
It is a little bit, but I mean, ultimately, you'll see where the people are coming from. Like, it does a far better job at kind of allowing you to understand that.
Gotcha.
So, I highly recommend the book if you're looking for something. Liz hasn't read it yet that I know of.
I haven't. I've got a really long list of books that I'm like in the middle of reading.
And she just wants to read a bunch of fucking Hobbit shit.
If I can help it, yeah.
And this is like the third time this year you've read the fucking Hobbit.
Oh no, I'm reading actually The Fall of Gondolin right now, which I haven't read yet, so I'm excited.
I just heard bloody nerd shit.
Well, it's not that nerdy. I mean, Lord of the Rings is pretty mainstream nowadays, right?
Right. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but not the way she's into it. Like, I have a tattoo of
the ring of
some fucking ring from those movies.
Hair, yeah.
Because we chose to get for our wedding rings, we got tattoos.
Yeah, and I got the well from the movie The Ring because he likes horror, and he got the ring that Alessar wears. There you go.
Huh. I'll give you that. It's creative for sure.
Yeah, they're in puzzle pieces too, if anybody's curious. But yeah, some fucking nerd shit.
Because that's how I roll. Are you a book person?
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. That's kind of how I got into the sort of movement, I guess you could call it.
Yeah. I got in through
Was-
podcasts personally.
Nice.
And I also got in because there was never a change to anarchism. It was just the baseline, I guess.
What do you mean?
I've always been one. Like probably even as a child, I was a shithead anarchist. I've never liked authority. Fuck all that. Just not my thing.
Just tiny
nice.
Nick, like screw you, old man.
Pretty much. Only thing that's changed is eventually, like, I got a grounding in philosophy enough from gravitating towards people that were into that stuff. Like, I actually started with Chomsky before I got to Rothbard and that kind of stuff.
Chomsky on foreign policy?
Yes. Like, it kind of started there. And I mean, ultimately, he is mostly still an anarchist himself. He's just got all that commie bad economics shit in there too.
Yeah, he's terrible on economics.
And it's always frustrating because he's such a smart guy. Like, I went to college for communications, and so like there's a certain degree of like his work in linguistics was always interesting to me. Same with like Steven Pinker. And it's weird because they're both incredibly intelligent people, obviously. And they'll have like these just mind-blowing ideas and concepts that they deal with in the linguistic field. And they'll have like some good concepts along the philosophical lines. But when it comes to like literally Steven Pinker's most recent book, if you read it, have you listened to Red Enlightenment Now?
It's on my list.
It's almost good. It's frustrating to read though, because you read the entire book, and as you read it, you're like, basically the book is markets are great and fix everything wrong with the world. But we should still have a government because, I just think we should.
Yeesh, that's a terrible.
That's literally the entire book. He just is just evidence after evidence that markets are the way to fix pretty much everything. And then, just fuck it. We just should have a government because I say so. I don't trust markets because I just don't. Like and you just wanted to wring his fucking neck through the damn, like through the earbuds. Like, what is wrong with you?
All right. What's more annoying to you, bootlickers or socialists?
Socialists, honestly.
Yeah. You see a mind that can be salvaged with socialists, maybe, but with bootlickers, you're just like, man, you're never gonna wake up, are you?
I don't know. I'm more like my little brother's a cop, first off, and honestly, like if you're to really get into it, like, he's the most libertarian person I know in real life.
Wow.
Now, I mean, even on the cop thing, he gets a lot of it. He's obviously not going to be anywhere near where we are on that front. But I mean, he'll be the first person to tell you that cops should have no fucking business dealing with any of the drug shit that they do. Like, yeah. It's not good for them. It's not good for the people. It's not good for anybody. It's dumb. But, you know, it's his feelings about it aren't going to make him all of a sudden go and quit his job either.
Right.
You know, it's a job. Got to do it. I get paid for it. Pretty well, in fact. So, you know, I guess it'd be one of those people. It's like principle's not as important as the paycheck.
Yeah.
You know, but it is also nice. I tell people that because it's so cathartic to call and yell at them when I see a video about somebody getting shot by police.
Wow.
Just you call them up like, you stupid fucking pigs. They're all goddamn same. Fuck you. Not a lot of people get.
So you call them like every day then, or
no? Just when I stumble across a new video, which isn't. I tend to try and not like to keep my feed full of things that make me angry. So, like I mean, there's clearly enough out there. It's not doing me any good to keep my blood pressure at fucking 3,000 all the time. I can relate to that for sure. Like if I want to be pissed off all the time, I can be pissed off all the time. It's not going to change anything, and it's not going to make my life any longer. So I live in a world where I know it's there, and when I have like an ability to do something about it, I will. Yeah, but
I think the most important thing to remember when it comes to police, especially for people who aren't really on our level, is before you call them, like, make sure you're okay with, homicide, because that could possibly happen and it'll be on your hands.
I just don't call them.
Right. No, well, normally I would just say, like, don't call the police because you can probably handle it because you're an adult and you don't need strangers with firearms showing up, escalating the situation. But people don't think about it like that.
No. Even in
a period before, like, I was really, really woke on the police tip, like, I still had never had an exchange where a cop's done anything useful. Like, even there's been a couple times I've like locked my keys in my car, and the cop's like, tough luck, buddy. Can't do anything to help you. Unless somebody's dying. Unless somebody's dying, I can't do anything.
Yikes!
I got weed in the dash.
There you go.
You're like, it's underneath the lock mechanism on my driver's side door.
That's gonna ruin my day just as much as.
Well, yeah. They're gonna put you in their car before they get into your car.
Yeah. And then they're gonna harass me and take me in for wasting their time.
You're like, this did not play out the way I wanted it to at all.
There's no positives. So I'll stand by it. There's no good that comes out of them. Was just doing a write up on a song last night for the Freedom Song Project, and it was Corey Smith's "Fuck the Popo," and the song is about him getting pulled over at a checkpoint, and his wife's sober. She's the DD, and he's just being a little mouthy while they're at the stop. Like, come on, man! Like, she's sober. Like, what the fuck are you doing? And he ends up getting hauled off to jail because he was giving attitude. The cop just didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
And then his name goes in the paper because he obviously resisted when the cop tries to fucking arrest him for nothing.
Yeah, you have to be unconscious to not resist, essentially.
Yeah, apparently.
Pretty much. You know, it's as if that like resisting should even be a fucking crime. It's
right.
just inherently unconstitutional. I did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Well, he committed contempt of cop.
This is
Right.
this is the crime of I did nothing wrong. So, well, right on, boss. It's been a lot of fun. I got to get going and get to work myself. Why don't you give your plugs again, so let people know where to send you, and we'll do our.
All right. Well, I'll give you a shout out real quick. I appreciate you having me on your show. I really had fun talking with you, and I think we covered some good topics.
It was
and
probably more educational than most of our shows are, like because you actually knew stuff about stuff.
Oh, cool.
I'm usually
right
more
on.
of a bullshitter kind of guy. Like, okay. Let's just talk about stupid shit.
Yeah. Well, there's lots of stupid shit to talk about for sure. So, I mean, I'd love to be on your podcast again. So we could go kind of off the rails or whatever. Maybe find like a good political rant to get into. Because I do that every once in a while.
Nice.
But,
well,
yeah, definitely.
If you're ever looking for a platform, let me know. We'll have you.
Okay. Yeah, good, man. Let's see. I think I got to shout out Empress of Meme because she's the one that connected me with Eric and then with you as a result. So definitely go give her a follow on Instagram.
I mean, are you looking to talk to more podcasts?
Yes, absolutely. Sure.
Well,
I enjoy it.
Then you stumbled upon the right man.
Hell yeah.
Since I host a podcast about libertarian podcasts.
Hell yeah.
I mean, I got about 130 of them on my list.
Wow.
If you didn't know, there's that many libertarian podcasts.
I didn't know there was that many libertarians.
Well, we do all have a podcast, so there's that. It does skew in that direction.
Maybe that should be my handle, the libertarian with no podcast.
It's already taken.
It's already
there is
the other guy.
Yeah, there's at least one other guy, and I'm going to be honest. I think he might actually have a podcast now. So, but yeah, let's get that link there, bud.
So I'm on Instagram at Evaporeign. You can DM me there if you want to order juice, or you can email me at evaporeign@protonmail.com. That's pretty much it for plugs. I do want to give a shout out to my buddy Babylon Step Back. He's selling some really freaking awesome anti-state merchandise at antistate.net. And I probably wear one of his t-shirts when I go out in public every day, in the hopes of starting a competition. So,
nice.
And I do end up talking to a lot of people as a result of those political messages on the t-shirt. So that's cool.
Nice.
That's very cool.
Liz, does this conversation bother you?
No.
Are you trying to end it or something?
No.
Like, Liz is over here, like, just putting up hot black women with big hair and asses.
It's my Instagram feed. That is how I roll. I'm just saying.
So I'm just like, I'm trying to have this conversation, and she's got all these, good-looking women on the computer, and I'm like, well, you trying to get something started over there? Or we're in the middle of a podcast.
I'm just writing down the link. Antistate.net. Cool t-shirts. That's what I heard.
I mean, you know what they say about black women, I guess.
They like cool t-shirts?
No, that's nothing that you've ever heard about black women. I believe it's that your insufferable succubus is trying to control men by their genitals.
Oh, I've never heard that about black women.
Yes, no, that's literally what the whole thing is. All right, well, third time's a charm, bud. You got to get that third plug in there, so go for it.
Let's see.
Is it Evaporeign, right?
Oh, yeah. Evaporeign.
Why don't you spell it out?
Evaporeign.
It's going to be EVAPOREIGN. So it's like evaporate, but Evaporeign. It's a word I made up back in like 2015.
And the reason I ask you to spell that, because the way you say it, no one is ever going to find it. Because
right,
I'm imagining raining vape juice. But it's rain as in like the reign of,
Rain of Fire.
Right, like every metal band ever.
Yeah, that's, by the way, it's a good movie.
Yeah, in retrospect, it was probably a terrible idea to have an e-liquid company that's a made-up name. Because people will butcher it all the time. I've heard like really, really great, like imaginative pronunciations of my company's name, like Evaporeign. I think I heard someone say it one time, and I was like, wow, there's a lot of extra letters in there I didn't see. But yeah, people are going to call it whatever they're going to call it, And don't start a business with a made-up fake name, like a word that you just invented out of thin air.
Just make sure you spell it when you tell people. That's all you gotta do.
Well, we'll have the link in the show notes.
We're on an audio podcast,
if nothing else. So.
If it sounds like different than what it's spelled, make sure you.
Gotcha.
Thank you so much for coming on, Joel. It's been a lot of fun. Look forward to having you on again, boss.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Nikki and Liz. You guys were a pleasure. And really stoked to be on the podcast. So thank you.
Thanks, man.
You have a good one, boss.
You too. Bye.
All right, so I'm just going to say it. I think I deserve a medal for today's episode.
Because why?
Because I didn't make more, like, vaping jokes.
It's silly. Oh, and for the record, people, it's Evaporeign. I just want to put that out there because Nick likes to say things the Nick way. And wanted to make sure you guys knew what the name of the thing you might want to throw into Google is. Evaporeign. And he threw out a pretty cool discount there. So please check out the website. And I'll try and put all that information into the show notes so that you can follow up there if that's something that you want to get. He's making good stuff, and you should go ahead and go out there and get him and support the guy.
Look, honey, I'm assuming he puts out good stuff because he seemed like a straight shooter.
Uh-huh.
But let's be honest. Neither one of us vape. How the hell do we know if it's good stuff?
Well, I don't know.
Look, this is like,
from personal, I'm not doing an ad for the product. I'm just saying explained his whole process.
You just did an ad for the product unwittingly.
Okay, that's fine.
This is like that time me and Tommy get pulled over by the cops, and then they ask me, is there a gun in the vehicle? And I say, I don't know.
I see.
And he freaks out at me. He's like, why would you say I don't know? I'm like, because I don't fucking know you, bro. I met you 5 hours ago. Maybe you had a fucking gun in there, and I'm not going to jail for your ass.
Is this drummer Tommy?
Yes.
Oh, good God.
Yes, me and Tommy's first meeting involved, he picked me up, drove me out to band practice in Geneva, Ohio, from Erie, PA.
Uh-huh.
And then we get pulled over because his tint was too dark in the car.
I see. You weren't ride or die with Tommy yet.
Yeah. I'd still fucking do the same thing. And I'm not going to jail for anybody.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, I may have lied had I knew there was a gun in the car.
Right.
But I didn't know. And I don't know who the fuck this guy was.
True.
He was sketchy. He was pretty white trashy. Like,
okay.
He was married to a stripper.
Well, yeah. But, I mean, you have different views on that stuff now.
No. I mean, I'm imagining the only kind of people that would marry a stripper are white trashy. I'm not saying that's right.
Okay. Fair enough.
I'd marry a stripper, but I'm white trashy. Was
it Captain Stephen Hiller from Independence Day? Wasn't he married to a stripper?
I have no idea. I haven't watched Independence Day in years, Liz. You have some weird affinity
Welcome
for that
Earth.
movie.
That's what I call a close encounter.
You've watched this movie entirely too much. See, while you were watching that, I was watching Mars Attacks.
This is true.
Which is a far superior movie.
I mean, I don't know about all that, but it has its appeal. Yeah, that noise is that is a thing I could have done without hearing for my entire life.
Yeah, but could you have also done without the birds dancing to Tom Jones?
No, that's true. That the world is a better place because that made it celluloid.
We digress. Anyways, it was a fun interview. Joel's a very knowledgeable guy. It was a lot of fun to have on. I look forward to having him on again someday. I'd like to remind people, go check out the soundslikeliberty.com page. Go sign up for the Freedom Choir. It's fun. It's good stuff in there. I work diligently on updating the website, and we create content constantly.
Nikki really is working on a lot of things. I'm working on things. And we're interested in, what's working for you guys and what's not. So if you want to shoot us a message and say, hey, we'd like more of this or we'd like less of that, and we're totally open. We like to hear that.
Yeah, we do. I mean, I like to hear anything. Even if it's shitty news, I'll come back at you. We'll make a podcast or Twitter thing about it,
Sure.
Also, as a reminder, go and check out our friends over at Intelligently. What is the name of the podcast?
You just threw it
Artificially
out.
Intelligent.
Okay.
It's a good podcast. I don't ever talk about it. That's the thing.
We'll
I listen
put it
to
in the
it.
Show notes.
And
put it in the show notes.
And allow us
you can
to
get the proper name.
Allow me to remind you all. I listen to hundreds upon hundreds of podcasts.
Which is why we have show notes. So,
yes,
so you can find this information in case we botch it on air.
I mean, Liz, it's not on air. I can go in and edit all of this out.
I know, but you don't. You don't like editing. At least, well, I mean, never mind.
I'm getting better at it.
You are getting better at it.
Speaking of which, if you're looking to not have to edit your own podcast this holiday season, please let me know. I will take care of that business for you because I'm not working as much. I need money. Lizzie works too hard as it is. She's working 72 hours and I'm over here on vacation. It's that bullshit.
Yeah, we're high maintenance ladies. Me and the little chick. We need our things.
Sure.
And stuffs.
I do.
We're worth it though.
All right, folks. As always, I hope you're having a good one. Go out there. Rock on.
Thanks for listening.